Welcome back, everyone, to another video. Last weekend, we witnessed the Cyclocross World Championship, where the winner was Mathieu van der Poel, with Wout van Aert finishing second. Seeing this podium sparked a realization. Wout van Aert has been on the podium numerous times without standing on the top step. So in this video, I will go through every time Wout has finished in second or third place in major championships and prestigious monuments. Enjoy! Before we discuss his second place in the World Championships in France, we need to rewind to 2018. That year, Wout was 23 years old, and he got his first big podium finish on the road scene by securing a third-place finish in the European Championship, losing in a sprint finish to Matteo Trentin and Mathieu van der Poel in a slippery race in Glasgow. This was one of Wout's first big results on the road, proving that he could be competitive outside of cyclocross. Glasgow's course, with its technical corners and wet conditions, made it a tactical battle, and Wout showcased his ability to adapt to different terrains. If we move 1 year ahead to the 2019 cyclocross season, Wout had a strong year with multiple victories. However, in the World Championship in Denmark, he was beaten by Mathieu van der Poel and finished second. The course in Beaugency was technical, favoring Mathieu's explosive power. Later that year, in the Belgian National Road Championship, he finished third, losing in a sprint to Tim Merlier. Moving on to the COVID-affected 2020 season, the World Championships were held in Imola, Italy. Wout showcased great form, finishing second in the time trial, behind Filippo Ganna, who dominated the discipline. In the road race, Wout once again secured second place, beaten by Julian Alaphilippe's iconic late attack on the final 7-minute climb. That race was impressive, a course just above 5,000-meter elevation, and finished second. Wow. Then, in the Tour of Flanders, Wout and Mathieu battled in a thrilling breakaway, a long-anticipated head-to-head duel. If you haven't seen that race, I can really recommend it. Wout, Mathieu, and Julian get away, and with only some kilometers left, Julian crashes in a motorbike. Then it is only Wout and Mathieu left, and they entered the final sprint together. Mathieu started the sprint, and it was so close they had to look at the photo finish. Showed Wout finishing second once again. It was a frustrating year in terms of podiums. In the 2021 Cyclocross World Championship at a sandy course in Ostend, Belgium. On that day, Wout looked really strong and had a gap on Mathieu, but unfortunately he got a puncture and was once again beaten by Mathieu van der Poel and had to settle for second. Then, in the first monument of the season, Milano-San Remo, he finished third in the sprint, losing to Jasper Stuyven after an impressive attack and Caleb Ewan. Later that summer, in his first Olympic Games in Tokyo, he delivered an exceptional performance on a grueling course with nearly 5,000 meters on long climbs, like 20 to 50 minutes. He finished second behind Richard Carapaz, who launched a perfectly timed attack on the Mikuni Pass. This race once again proved that Wout is an outstanding climber. Later in the season, he claimed another silver medal in the World Championship time trial, finishing second behind Filippo Ganna by just 6 seconds. The time trial was particularly heartbreaking, as Wout was leading at the intermediate time checks, but faded in the final kilometers. I really hope that time Wout would claim the victory, because it was in Belgium. In 2022, Wout had a fantastic start to the season, winning Omloop het Nieuwsblad and E3 Saxo Bank Classic. He was the main favorite for the Tour of Flanders, but unfortunately contracted COVID-19, missing his chance at a monument win. After recovering, he competed in Paris-Roubaix. That race was a special one, where nearly the whole Ineos team went in the breakaway with more than 200 kilometers to go. Wout looked really strong that day and was on all attacks in the final. Unfortunately, he got a puncture with 36 kilometers to go and spent a lot of energy to come back. And with 30 kilometers to go, Dylan van Baarle attacked and got a big gap and claimed the victory. Behind, Wout won the bunch sprint and finished second. Later in the spring, he finished third at Liège-Bastogne-Liège, behind Remco Evenepoel and Quinten Hermans, also impressive due to the technical course. In the 2023 Cyclocross World Championship, it was another intense battle between Wout and Mathieu. These two got a big gap already at the first lap and raced together the whole race. Both tried to drop the other, but neither of them couldn't. The race ended in a sprint finish. Matthew started the sprint and claimed the victory, and Wout finished second yet again. Then, in Milano-San Remo, Wout finished third behind Matthew and Filippo Ganna, after Matthew launched a decisive attack on Podium. In Paris-Roubaix, Wout looked incredibly strong and launched an attack on one of the final cobbled sections and got Matthew behind on the wheel, but unfortunately suffered a puncture. He ended up finishing third, beaten by Jasper Philipsen in the sprint. Paris-Roubaix was particularly frustrating for Wout, as he had the legs to win but was undone by bad luck. Later in the year, at the World Championship in Glasgow, we witnessed an incredible race. The race was hard already from the gun, and when he entered the laps in Glasgow, the position was extremely important. And with 73 kilometers left, Matthew attacked, and with 22 kilometers to go, Matthew launched a decisive attack that no one could follow, leaving Wout to claim yet another second-place finish while his rival claimed the rainbow stripes. A few weeks later, Wout competed in the European Championship in the Netherlands in both the time trial and the road race. He finished third in the time trial, behind Ineos' new superstar Josh Tarling and Stefan Bissegger. In the road race, Christophe Laporte was in a long breakaway, and while Wout managed to catch him on the final climb, he lacked the power to take the victory and finish second once again. One of the most exciting finishes in recent years. Wout's 2024 season was far from ideal. In Dwars door Vlaanderen, he was involved in a major crash, forcing him to miss all the spring classics. However, he made it to the Olympics, where he made a bold decision to ride the time trial using dual disc wheels, something the cycling world hadn't seen in decades. He put in an impressive performance and finished third, behind Filippo Ganna and Remco Evenepoel. Later, in La Vuelta, he suffered another crash, which resulted in him missing the World Championships, a real shame, as he could have achieved excellent results in both the time trial and road race. His injuries took a toll on his season, leaving fans wondering what could have been. And now, in the 2025 Cyclocross World Championship, Wout once again finished second behind Matthew, despite starting from a poor position. It would have been interesting to see how their battle unfolded if Wout had a better starting position. Looking ahead to Wout van Aert's 2025 season, he'll kick things off in Spain and Portugal, starting with the Volta ao Algarve before transitioning into his Classics campaign. His spring schedule includes all the major Belgian classics, with a strong focus on the Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix, races he has repeatedly stated are his top priorities. After the Classics, Wout is set to race the Giro d'Italia, where he might have a shot at a stage win. If he succeeds, he would join the select group of riders who have won stages in all three Grand Tours. However, his primary role in the Giro will likely be supporting Olav Kuij in the sprints and Simon Yates in the mountains. Later in the season, Wout will take on the Tour de France, but beyond that, his race program remains unconfirmed. Hopefully, he can secure some big victories this year, maybe even one of cycling's 5 monuments. What do you think about Wout's upcoming season? Let me know in the comments.